Well, first, it's great to see Herb and your gang is so right about so much of this. I've never seen it before. And what Wall Street Bets, which is really driving this, what they've done, that's a site on Reddit. What they've done is target large short positions. Now, they have not targeted small short positions. Gamestop was 148% short. They went after Best Buy this morning because that's 67% short. They're obviously, by the way, BlackBerry's not. They just happen to be a big favorite. Palantir, we don't know where they're doing. But I actually think, Herb, that they're smarter than we think. They're after the ones that are too shorted. No, short selling is not dead, but they're very smart about what to target.
Wait a minute. What you just said, target. So here's my question. How is it that they can target, and that's legal, and if there was, in the old days, a bear raid, that was illegal? When does this become manipulation, Jim?
It's such a tough question because, remember, what's manipulation? How about if an analyst came out right now and said, I think GameStop is going to 250? Would we give that person a pass? Yes, because of the First Amendment. No, listen to me. It's First Amendment protection versus the idea of a group getting together to bust the shorts. But if the group is not a real group, it's just a lot of people who love it, it's going to be very hard for the U.S. Attorney to do anything, Herb. What is it, the SEC? They're not. What kind of case do they have? We like the stock. We like the stock. I mean, that's the kid where Ryan Cohen got in. He bought 15% at $8. He's on the board. We like the stock. How is that bad? Or do you think that they're concentrated and doing some sort of manipulation if they say they like the stock?
Well, I don't know if they're concentrated because I don't have subpoena power and I can't really go out and look at it. I could argue I don't even know if there are foreign powers at work here behind the scenes trying to make chaos of our markets.
Let me ask you this, Jim, because I think Mike Santoli. Look, there's a good number of people sitting at home who are like, I'm not investing in these kinds of stocks. I don't know what the heck they're talking about. I'm really not interested in it. But, Jim, Mike brings up what really is the cogent point for the broad audience. This is a sideshow. Does it at some point disturb the main event?
I think that more people are worried that it's going to disturb the main event than it is. It is a sideshow. What happened in GameStop? Okay, so the big trade was to be long the 40 calls and to be short the 60 calls. So they forced you to cover the 60 calls. They being the market makers had to cover. They started covering around 4 o'clock. So you did not, if you own the 40 and you're short the 60, you got caught here because you were not able to sell the 40 at the same price that you got closed out in the 60. So you see that there were closing out and closing out and closing out. And, Pete, you know this. And then once it was done, boom. I mean, anyone who was long it from the 40 calls doesn't have the capital. So that's why it came under pressure.
It just shows you, too, okay, we came into the show today, Jim, saying, okay, we're going to lead with technology. NASDAQ's ripping today. We're leading into a bunch of really critical earnings. And then we see what's happening with GameStop and the rest of the market story. And we're like, what in the world? So you make this great pivot. It sucks a lot of the air out of the room. At the end of the day, though, Jim, this week and this month and maybe the next one is going to be driven by the numbers. Right. I hope. The fundamentals.
And it's tomorrow.
Fundamentals
it's tomorrow. What's Johnson & Johnson going to say? What happens if Johnson & Johnson says, okay, we had a great quarter. Stay tuned because you may only have to take one shot. I mean, where does that stock go? Look at Eli Lilly. Look at what happened to Eli Lilly on a couple of good news and Alzheimer's.
What happens with these earnings?
Say you again?
Companies come out. What happens with these companies, Jim, if people come out, and we know it's when the company stands up and the company says it's not quite what you expected it to be at these levels. And what I think is very interesting as I watch it, as these stocks go higher and higher and higher, executives are human beings. They have feelings. They get caught up in it too.
You're already making statements that you can't prove.
Now they have to justify. I'm trying to think through it. Now they're trying to justify. I've known you for so long.
I like to do this with you. You know that. Go ahead.
I love it, Jim. I love being with you. So
really?
Now they have to justify. Now they have to justify the stock somehow. And that's where I believe you get into this issue of aggressive accounting, which people don't pay attention to any of that anymore. They haven't for a long time. People start getting more aggressive. They get hooked on the drug of aggressiveness. And that's why Jim Chanos is out there talking about the golden era of fraud.
I was literally
this is going to be a very interesting period going forward.
I was literally thinking of Chanos saying the golden age of fraud when he was with us.
The golden age of fraud?
The other day.
Wait. Okay, so tell me, was the fraud Wall Street Bets decided to go after Bed Bath because some idiots are shorted? when the
Has
whole
nothing
company
to do
has
with Wall
changed?
Street Bets.
67% short, and the whole company's better than it used to be? What is the case to be short Bed Bath & Beyond? Anyone have it? Anyone have it?
Maybe. Well, actually, it did show up on our model for breaking retailers that we put out a while back. But that said, didn't take into account the new CEO, didn't take into account things. But that was, by the way, that was a long time ago. So again, he has to justify what he's doing at Bed Bath & Beyond. I don't know. It's not a company we write about. But, I will say that in the end, what will the managements do? What will they have to do to justify these stock prices? And these proxy statements that are going to come out later this year, it's going to be interesting to take a look at bonus structure changes and things like that to see how much of it is tied to the stock. If there's any tweaks that are going to indicate, that are going to suggest that management has to get more aggressive or wants to get more aggressive.
Well,
I'm not going to say it's going to
if
happen.
interest rates go up, I think a lot of this game goes away.